What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the obviously awesome Dr. Disaster. And what phenomenon is it where a business seemingly has a ton of projects to work on, but they still lay off going on 10% of their workers? From the outside looking in, it looks like a company where management doesn't think that the customers are gonna like the project that they're working on, so they need to preemptively trim the fat.
I have a package for you.
Sounds broken.
Most likely, sir. I'll bet it was something nice, though.
This appears to be what has happened with Crystal Dynamics, the latest in a long line of video game studios which has had to let go of a significant portion of their employees. They just made the announcement on X that a chunk of their workforce was being let go, and as someone who has watched this studio change Tomb Raider from this, a beloved icon among gamers, to this bland redesign that nobody cares about, well, I'd say this is comeuppance, especially since now they're in the process of doing something similar to another classic female character, Joanna Dark, who is being transmogrified in their upcoming game into Joseph Dark. Maybe the powers that be at Crystal Dynamics are coming to understand that most people don't want female characters that look like dudes in a dress. Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also, don't forget to support the channel by becoming a member. There are exclusive projects that you won't want to miss out on that will be available to members only coming very soon, including audiobook of novels I've written. There will be more information in the next few weeks, but it occurred to me that we can't just point out the things that we don't want in our pop culture, we have to push the things that we do like. So, if you're interested in supporting that sort of thing, consider becoming a member of the channel. In any event, let's talk about Crystal Dynamics and what is happening to their workforce. This is a studio which appears to have somewhere between 250 and 300 employees working for them. So, when we say that they let go of 17 employees, that's actually a pretty big deal. That is somewhere between 5 and 10% of the workers, but let's look at what they actually wrote in their post on X. They said, "This morning, Crystal Dynamics made the difficult decision to reduce our workforce by 17 talented team members. We did not make this decision lightly. Ultimately, this step was necessary to better align our current business needs and the studio's future success. It is not a reflection of the dedication or ability of those affected. We recognize how painful this outcome is for those impacted, and we are supporting them with transition packages and opportunity outreach. Crystal Dynamic remains committed to pushing the boundaries of making great games. This change does not alter our current project plans." And now, what plans are those, you might be asking? Well, as I mentioned before, they are the ones who put together the Perfect Dark reboot, whose trailer you can see playing in the background here. They are the ones where they took Joanna Dark and gave her the sort of square jaw that would make Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent green with envy. They also have an undisclosed Tomb Raider game that they're working on that won't be out for a few years. Perfect Dark was supposed to be coming out this year, but as of yet, there have been no release date announcements. After the backlash that we've seen against uglified female characters in video games, I suspect that they are pushing the project back in the hopes that gamer sentiment will change. Another possibility is that this is just another game where they're waiting to hear the release date of GTA 6 before they make an announcement. We have been hearing that a large chunk of studios out there are intentionally trying to schedule their releases around GTA, which makes some sense because of course that game is going to be massive, it's going to suck out all the oxygen in the room. That may be why titles like Ghost of Yotai, which are supposedly coming out in 2025, haven't even announced what quarter in the year that they're coming out, let alone the specific date. But anyhow, as for Crystal Dynamics and letting go of these employees, you'd think that a studio working on a pair of franchises as iconic and well known as Perfect Dark and Tomb Raider would need every employee it can get. After all, as I said before, it's not as though this is a massively bloated studio or anything. A few hundred employees is pretty reasonable. What this suggests is that somebody somewhere is not expecting their games to sell well enough to justify these jobs. Their sales projections must not be looking particularly good. I mean, these studios don't just do this sort of thing for no good reason. The decision to lay these people off has to be based on something, and it's not any recent failures or anything like that that caused problems either. They haven't released a game since they put out that live service trash Marvel's Avengers back in 2020. Considering the deep pockets of their parent company, the Embracer Group, and considering that Embracer's other studios aren't laying people off, it seems unlikely that Crystal Dynamics is suddenly looking at their annual budget, which will have been planned out long ago with the understanding that Perfect Dark is going to be released sometime in the next year or so, but it seems unlikely that their annual budget suddenly didn't justify carrying these 17 employees unless they're looking at revised sales projections. From the outside looking in, it looks as though chasing after short-term gains, chasing foolish industry trends where they court the modern audience instead of regular gamers by making their female characters less attractive. Well, this has done irreparable damage to the IP that they're working on and to their own studio brand. The past several years has been a dark time for a lot of franchises as they made feminist shit-lib activism the priority instead of making games that gamers actually want to play. Can you imagine how excited people would be for a new Perfect Dark game if these same clowns hadn't shit the bed with the Tomb Raider redesign? Can you imagine how much money they'd make if Joanna Dark didn't look like Buzz, the mean older brother from the Home Alone movies? Instead, Crystal Dynamics is forced to lay people off. As usual, it's too bad for the employees who lost their jobs. If these are regular, non-activistic game developers who just wanted to make video games, then I wish them the best, and I recommend that in the future they try to find work at a studio that's serious about selling products to gamers. However, if these are activists masquerading as developers, then piss on them. Just like Crystal Dynamics and all these other studios, they get what they deserve. But I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery of the Perfect Dark and Tomb Raider redesigns into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching me, Hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.